Well, I didn't win the Powerball either. I'm Charlie Sykes. Sunday Insight starts right now. Good morning and welcome to Sunday Insight. In the week that was, the Milwaukee Common Council gives the green light to a $124 million downtown trolley. The president asked for an authorization to use force against ISIS. NBC's Brian Williams is suspended for 6 months without pay. The Milwaukee Bucks just keep winning games, something we haven't seen for a while around here, and it's kind of nice. The House of Representatives endorses the Keystone XL pipeline, but it faces a certain veto from President Obama. Packer coach Mike McCarthy gives up his play-calling role. But we start with Governor Scott Walker in London. This is what it's like to be a presidential frontrunner. Big stories in the Washington Post and the Boston Globe about your college years, and headlines about the questions you didn't answer.
Are you comfortable with the idea of evolution? Do you believe in it? Do you accept it?
For me, I'm gonna punt on that one as well.
No,
that does you
really.
That's a question a politician shouldn't be involved in one way or the other on. So I'm going to leave that up to you.
But any British politician, right or left wing, would laugh and say, yes, of course, evolution's true. But
to me, I said it's just one of those where I'm here to talk about trade, not to pontificate on other issues.
Was that a stumble, or did he get it right? Joining me on our panel this morning, defense attorney Dan Adams, former state representative Michelle Litchens, political strategist Linda Bruin, and the managing editor of RightWisconsin.com, Colin Roth. Did he stumble or did he get it right? Linda Bruin.
You know, I think he stumbled a bit, mainly because he looked like he was trying to avoid it. And if you actually
well,
listen,
he did say he was trying to avoid it.
But he also avoided a bunch of other real serious questions on foreign policy. And it seemed to me that part of the role of his trip, it wasn't just to promote trade with Wisconsin. It was to make himself look presidential and have some international credibility. And all the presidential candidates do that.
But this is
so
a gotcha.
He should have
this
answered.
is a gotcha question. What did you think about the way he handled it, Michelle Litchens?
I actually think the governor did a really nice job with that. I mean, you wish he would have come back with something a little bit quick-witted about that, but this is what the press does. They go after you. They try to trip you up with a question so that they can slaughter you out there and they can drive down your numbers. But this is not going to happen to Scott Walker, and I'm going to tell you why. The entire country watched on their nightly news Scott Walker being attacked during Act 10. It was on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. The entire country watched the media go after this guy. I don't think them trying to trip up Scott Walker is actually going to resonate, and I think the country is endeared to this guy because he actually did what he said he was going to do.
Well, but again, this is a gotcha question to determine whether or not you believe in science, right? Whether or not you have a college degree. You know, is it relevant to running for president how you feel about evolution?
Well, let's not feel too bad for Scott Walker. I mean, he's no longer in the minor leagues, and the pitchers and the majors.
Legitimate question, though. Is it a legitimate question?
They throw hard. It is a legitimate question. What is your worldview? Do you accept some basic science? And,
do you accept basic science? Do you believe evolution, as the British say?
Evolution, absolutely. Yes.
Which theory do you accept? Do you accept the gradualist, or do you accept the the phyletic approach to evolution?
Who knows?
Do you think that it's based in cellular or DNA? What exactly is your position? Do you have a position on string theory?
Well, come on.
Do you believe on the Big Bang Theory?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay. Yeah.
But once he tweeted, he actually had a fairly decent answer. And the problem is, if you look like you're trying to avoid a question, that's when the piranhas really go after you. So I think he should have answered.
Okay, your take on this, Colin Roth.
I agree. It was a trap, and he handled it okay. Maybe I'm punting on that. But the question of evolution does not go to the heart of whether he can reform government, cut taxes, whether he'd be a good leader on the world stage. It is a trap question. It's fair in the sense I think there is some legitimacy to ask, what is the next leader of the free world's worldview. But I think it was a big
but you can always ask, what is your worldview, as opposed to asking this particular fact, which again is the stand-in for, are you some sort of a rube from Wisconsin without a college degree whose dad was a minister, and can we make fun of you by having you take a position? Now, of course, this also plays into the media attention on his college degree. Is that hurting him? How is that playing out?
It's really interesting. We saw some big exposés.
Gigantic
exposés, if you will, from the Boston Globe, the Washington Post, and we saw this a couple years ago with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I sense an overreach. I sense an overreach in the sense that between the evolution question and this college exposé stuff, that there's going to be the media looking into this and trying to make a big deal, and there's kind of this East Coast elitism.
Okay, how do you see that? I mean, you had the Washington Post dive into this, and they discovered after an intensive investigation that he actually decided to drop out of college to get a job. Wow.
You know,
stop the freaking presses.
You know, the irony here is that I personally wouldn't vote for someone who doesn't have a college degree.
Really?
But for president of the United States. However, I think it's a big yawn. And I think overall the American public doesn't particularly care as long as he's viewed as competent in office.
So I want to know why you look down on people who don't have college degrees.
I don't look down on that.
Because I'm guessing there are people who are watching us here. Yes. Okay.
I want someone who is president of the United States who has a college level education, because I think it broadens your horizons.
You didn't say college level education, you said a college degree.
A college degree, absolutely, because I think it broadens your horizons in a way that not having that degree doesn't. I don't feel that that's necessary for every job in the United States or every job I respect, but president of the United States, I think, should have that.
Sort of like Abraham Lincoln and Harry S. Truman and Andrew Jack.
Like
imagine what a great president Abraham Lincoln would have been if he'd had a college degree.
No, I don't think the lack of a college degree is going to hurt him at all. Again, most of our country does not have a college degree. He quit school for a job. I think he's proven himself as a governor in the state, and other than with the academic elite, it's not going to matter.
I am shocked and appalled that anybody that does not have a degree from Harvard or Yale even thinks of running for an office like this.
I think you should also need a law degree.
Where are these people?
Listen, to Michelle's point, I don't think that most people are suitable to be president. I think you should have some credentials that put you head and shoulders.
How about life experience? And I agree with the point that Colin made here. There is an overreach. If you're Scott Walker, what's happening is particularly among, I think, conservative primary voters, is they're seeing him being beaten up by an elitist, snotty media.
Oh, he's such a victim.
No.
Victim.
Well, I mean, what you're saying is that normal process that we always see. The conservatives must be stupid or they must be extreme. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see whether Hillary Rodham Clinton, when she emerges from whatever bunker she's in right now, will get even a fraction of these kinds of gotcha questions. So what has your glass half full? This empty? Half full? And what has your glass half empty? Let's go around the table. Dan Adams, who has a law degree, by the way.
Wisconsin, true to our brewer heritage, is maintaining our place in the beer industry. We have some 90 craft breweries that add over $850 million of economic impact to our state annually, keeping our glasses half full this week. But my glass is half empty because Wisconsin beer has its downsides, mainly drunk driving. Wisconsin still only penalizes first offense OWIs with glorified speeding tickets. Time for the legislature to stand up to the Tavern League and criminalize all drunk driving.
Michelle Litchens.
My glass is half empty because Butch's Steakhouse will be closing soon. Butch's is a real supper club. Their hospitality and ambiance will be missed. But it is half full because on that property, Milwaukee will have a world-class sports medicine and wellness facility.
Linda Bruin.
Well, my glass is half full because more and more Republican governors are signing up for Obamacare's Medicaid expansion. Most of these governors were once vehement critics, but the program's growing popularity and financial resources changed their positions. My glass is half empty because the Republican Congress is ignoring this sea change and continues to pass legislation against Obamacare.
Colin Roth.
My glass is half full because there appears to be real momentum to eliminate the prevailing wage. It's half empty because there is seemingly greater openness to the hiking of the gas tax, too.
Great. Well, my glass is half empty because the media is obviously intent on asking gotcha questions like the one they asked Scott Walker about evolution. It's half full because I'm really, really looking forward to the day the media asks Hillary Rodham Clinton for her detailed views on her specific views of evolution, including whether she believes in the theory of unpunctuated equilibrium or phyletic gradualism, because we need to know, right? Next on Sunday Insight, the Menominee upped the ante to build the Kenosha Casino and help build a new arena in downtown Milwaukee. The Menominee Tribe makes Governor Walker an offer that he can't refuse, but he does. The tribe, which wants to build a casino in Kenosha, called it a slam dunk and a game changer. Walker has already turned down the casino, but the Menominee wanted to take the issue into overtime with a proposal to give the state, they said, $220 million to build a new Bucks arena, taking taxpayers off the hook. Supporters hailed it as a win-win situation, but, well, not so fast. The Walker administration pointed out that there was actually no proposal, no details, just a press release. In a dozen negotiating sessions with the tribe last year, the proposal never came up. There were serious doubts the tribe had the money, and there had been no attempt to get federal approval for the deal, which seemed unlikely. The final deadline is this week, so your reaction to the Walker administration turning down the sweet offer of a Bucks arena, right?
Well, I like all the sports analogies in the intro because this really was a Hail Mary pass, but it happened after the clock had already run out. I mean, the Potawatomi coaches are dumping Gatorade on each other. This had no chance. It's not a legitimate plan that was offered. I don't know if they're just trying to make Scott Walker look bad, but he did the right decision, just coming out quickly and saying no deal.
Okay, Michelle Litchens.
Well, I have to completely agree with Dan on that one. This was not a real offer. They would have gone through the right channels and they would have been talking about this months ago. But what this really is about, though, is Tom Barrett not offering to put money on the table for the Bucks arena and instead passing the trolley.
Okay, but you did have Republican legislators from southeastern Wisconsin who were at least acting like this was a real deal and calling it a win-win scenario. I mean, is everybody just going through the motions of pretending that they really were going to pay for the arena?
Because it just sounds so good, right? And so many people in southeastern Wisconsin really wanted that casino to happen, and I understand their passion for that, but the governor did the right thing. This was not a real offer.
I actually think this was a legitimate last-minute, last-ditch attempt, which typically doesn't have much details. I think part of them, because they didn't really believe, or they always thought that there was a decent shot, and when he turned him down the first time, I think they're just desperately trying to come up with the last
except they never actually contacted the administration. There is no financial plan. Well, the BIA would have to approve this. Yeah, well, but you believe this?
No, I'm saying given the time. Yeah, if Walker,
you believed it.
Well, if Walker.
So do you answer those emails from the Nigerian princes when you get emails saying, "Esteemed Linda Bruin, we have $220 million US in an account in your name." Do you answer those emails?
No, absolutely not. The bottom line is, if Walker turned around, and I agree that he shouldn't, and I'm glad he didn't. But if Walker turned around and said, "Yes, I'll take you up on the offer," they wouldn't have any choice but to go through with it. So I think they did intend.
Yeah, it would have been an interesting proposal months ago. But as we've discussed, this was a tactic to kind of screw with the governor, to engender some more momentum and hoping he'll revisit it, but it won't.
But there were a lot of folks who were saying this actually now makes it harder for the governor and the legislative leadership to get through support for the Bucks arena because now it creates an alternative. So
and that's what's unfortunate. If it's from everything we've been told, it's not a real alternative. So this gets set out there.
But again, I don't think it's harder to get passed through the state because of the Menominee's offer, because that wasn't really a real offer. I think it's harder because you've got Tom Barrett saying he doesn't want to invest money in it in Milwaukee. He doesn't care enough to keep the Bucks here. Well, but the rest of the state is supposed to care.
That is a deal killer. Okay, you might not want to hear, but we'll tell you anyway. Let's hand out some unsolicited advice this week. Dan Adams.
To Milwaukee County board members who call themselves environmentalists. Be environmentalists. Stop obstructing removal of the Estabrook Dam, an expensive public nuisance that is harming Milwaukee River wildlife. Do what the DNR says and remove the dam.
No, Michelle Litchens.
A Montana state representative thinks that wearing yoga pants in public should be a crime. Now, he has a point, but I don't believe we need a law against it. So, ladies, let's take it upon ourselves to limit public yoga pants to the gym.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Lynn.
What about the men?
Yeah.
My advice is to socially conservative activist judges. You have every right to your personal opinions on gay marriage. But the reality is that gay marriage is coming, and Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore's crude attempt to defy a federal court ruling was futile and disrespectful of the legal system he swore to uphold.
Colin Roth.
My unsolicited advice is for Republican candidates running for president to practice their answers on not only evolution, but also quantum physics, the theory of relativity, standard model of particle physics, and so on. You are running for president after all.
Yeah, we didn't get an answer from Dan Adams about his theory on string theory, did we? Well, to Tammy Baldwin, the next time a veteran or a member of a veteran's family calls you, you might try not blowing them off, because not all the media is going to give you a pass. Next on Sunday Insight, that's what we're going to talk about. The VA scandal in Tomah keeps getting worse. Lip service. The daughter of a veteran who died after treatment at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Tomah tells Gannett newspapers that Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin offered only lip service when she sought help investigating the death of her 74-year-old father. Her father, Patrick Baer, died last month after suffering a stroke as he waited to be seen at the urgent care clinic at the Tomah Medical Center. His daughter, Candace Baer Dellis, contacted both of the United States Senators Baldwin and Ron Johnson. Senator Johnson, she said, immediately became involved, peppering the VA with questions about her father's death. In contrast, Tammy Baldwin's office office just put her in touch with a county VA liaison to help get death benefits. This is what she said. As much as I hate to say it, because I voted for her, Baldwin's office has been essentially useless. Lip service is really all we have gotten from them. Last month, of course, Tammy Baldwin came under fire for sitting on a critical report about the VA and ignoring pleas from a whistleblower to take action. Now, this has become a huge problem for her now politically, isn't it, Colin Roth?
Absolutely. I mean, she's not up till 2018, but I mean, this is the blocking and tackling of being a public official. You take care of issues like this, and I don't know how she keeps getting this wrong.
Yeah, but before this story, though, her strategy had been working, right? I mean, she is hiding out. She's not giving any interviews. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel has given her, a pretty general pass on this particular story.
Yeah, and outside of Donovan Slack of Gannett Media, who's been dogged in pursuit of this, she has gotten a pass. She was able to put out a press release and hide in her office in D.C. without taking any questions.
Okay.
Linda
Bruin.
Tom Ament in the pension scandal tried to hide from the press, and look how well it worked out for him. I'm a Democrat. I support Tammy Baldwin, but this is outrageous. She should have, the minute this happened, first of all, she should never have not responded to these folks. She should, she should have dealt with it. But she should have come out early on.
And the fact that she happened again. That's the thing that's the most difficult to understand.
And I don't understand. I don't understand how, she's now fired her deputy state director with a severance package that includes a non-disclosure clause. And then you still don't say what you knew when and whether you even read the report. Well, it doesn't take a person with a college degree to figure out that maybe she's got something to hide here.
So Tammy Baldwin has a college degree, right? Okay, Dan Adams?
Lynn, you're way wrong on this.
Can you carry some water for her, please?
Absolutely. No, this newest scandal of her not making a condolence call has nothing to do with the VA up in Tomah with the report of opiate overprescription. These are two different things, but the narrative is obviously
what's the pattern?
It is a pattern.
There is a pattern.
And by the way, it's not condolence. It's somebody said, I want you to take some action on it.
After the death of a parent. And my heart goes out to this woman, but this is not a major political issue. I think the Tomah hospital is an issue that we're going to see between now and her reelection.
So basically, that if you're a veteran and you're concerned about your care in VA, you shouldn't be calling Tammy Baldwin, and you don't think that's a problem.
Tammy Baldwin's not going to go up and fix the CT machine, which was out in that hospital.
I talked to Ron Johnson last week. He's the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, the Government Affairs Committee. He knew every single detail about that, everything that had happened in the treatment, and all the questions to be asked. I thought it was very dramatic, the different levels of engagement between Ron Johnson, who really did think it was his job, and Tammy Baldwin, who apparently can't be bothered.
And both U.S. Senate offices were contacted in the same fashion.
The same day,
right?
January 28th.
And then you saw one immediately take action to try to prepare what's going on up in the Veterans Hospital, and the other one completely ignore it.
Okay, what is it that you don't get this week? Let's go around the table. Dan Adams.
Why Governor Walker thinks having tea and crumpets in London gives him foreign policy credibility for his presidential run. A better suggestion? Announce a foreign policy heavyweight like Stanley McChrystal or John Bolton as your VP and run a co-campaign.
Michelle Litchens.
Charlie, I don't get why UW Chancellor Rebecca Blank said upcoming layoffs will be based on seniority, not on performance. Does this prove the university just doesn't care about results and they only care about protecting the status quo?
Yes. Linda Bruin.
Well, what I don't get is how a California man could think it was okay to eat out and then take public transportation, even though he knew he had the measles. If you are unimmunized and have been exposed or have the disease, stay home and contact your doctor.
Colin Roth.
What I don't get is how the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel was only able this week to declare the John Doe investigation dead. Really? It's been dead for some time now.
Yeah, they'll get around to it. Well, what I don't understand is how the city of Milwaukee will explain that it has enough money for a downtown trolley, but not enough money to buy salt for the roads, pay for cops or firefighters, fix potholes, fix the schools, or build a new Bucks arena. Good luck with that. Next on Sunday Inside, our panel picks the winners and losers of the week. First, here's your morning news update. It's time for our panel to pick the winners and losers of the week. Dan Adams, you're first.
My winner, Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Bradley, who faces off against second-tier challenger Judge Jim Daly. This week, Justice Bradley announced endorsements of 100 law enforcement leaders and has 4 times the war chest as her opponent. Game over. My losers are Illinois neighbors. Despite a valiant effort by some Democrats there, their state Supreme Court is set to strike down in an attempt to rein in public employee pensions. Illinois has at least 111 billion unfunded pension mandates to tackle.
Michelle Litchens.
My winner is Mercury Marine for good old innovation and creativity. This week they unveiled a 1,550 horsepower engine that can push about 150 miles per hour, which is just crazy, but it shows they believe the market is improving. My losers are the cities like San Francisco and Seattle that pushed through a $15 minimum wage increase last year. The increase hasn't fully taken effect yet, and businesses have already started moving, saying they can't afford to keep their doors open if they stayed.
Linda Bruin.
I've learned that even in prison, one can be free. I've come to see that there is good in every situation. We just have to look for it. These are the written words of Kayla Mueller, the young American who spent her life helping others and died an ISIS captive. She is my winner. If you haven't read Kayla's beautiful letter to her family, you should. My loser is Brian Williams for messing up his once charmed life. Williams was one of our most respected newsmen, and now his career is spiraling downward, all because of an embellishment lie that he never corrected.
Colin Roth.
My winners this week are State Representative Dave Craig and Senator Tom Tiffany for tackling John Doe reform to protect the rights of citizens against unconstitutional abuses. My loser this week is Madison Mayor Paul Soglin, who called Uber and Lyft Ayn Rand free market nonsense. Bravo, comrade.
Now, he would take comrade as a compliment. Winner, the alternative media. You will have 20 years of stories about the cost overruns, delays, and the other problems with the downtown trolley. My loser, so-called settled science. After 40 years of warnings, it turns out that eating foods with cholesterol may not be bad for you after all, so never mind. And bisphenol A is not Satan's saliva after all. Yet another study exonerated BPA, so never mind about that too. Thanks for joining us and joining me for my radio show Monday morning on News Radio 620 WTMJ from 8:30 until noon. Have a great week.